Hello, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Now, sit back and enjoy. The story begins by introducing Ethan and Emma, who are anxiously driving in a car towards a safe location. The news on the radio is troubling, reporting that a lethal virus is spreading rapidly. The broadcaster urges listeners to find a place to shelter. As they discuss the best route to take, Ethan and Emma are suddenly involved in an accident. The next morning, Ethan wakes up, but a significant amount of time has passed. He finds himself in a similar situation, having experienced yet another accident. He wakes up dazed and stumbles out of the passenger door, noticing a trail of blood that seems to be from Emma. Panic sets in as he screams her name, searching the area for any sign of her, but receiving no response. The surroundings reveal a horrifying scene. Abandoned houses and wrecked cars litter the streets, indicating that much time has passed. Pleas for help are visible on the rooftops, and in the distance, a large commercial airplane is crashed on a hillside, heightening the sense of dread. While searching the area, Ethan spots a truck approaching and signals for it to stop. The man in the truck bed is armed and asks if Ethan is lost. Ethan replies that he just woke up there and doesn't know where he is. The man reacts by pointing his gun at Ethan, but before he can pull the trigger, shots ring out from another location, missing the target. The distraction causes the man to miss his shot at Ethan, who quickly takes cover behind a wall. Gunfire erupts as the man in the truck shoots wildly, trying to hit the hidden shooter. Soon enough, both he and the truck driver are hit. Ethan feels relieved to see the men who tried to kill him lying on the ground. However, the mysterious shooter soon reveals herself, approaching the fallen man and finishing him off. The shooter, known as May, warns Ethan that he shouldn't be alone out there. While she tries to activate a mechanism on the truck, Ethan attempts to explain his situation, but May asks for his help with something. They try to lift the man's body off the ground, but just before they succeed, Ethan faints. He briefly awakens in the truck bed, only to faint again, drifting into a short dream of Emma being dragged away. Ethan wakes up in a bed and immediately calls out for Emma. He finds himself in the kitchen, where he encounters May again. She asks what he can remember, and with effort, he recalls trying to reach another location with his girlfriend, Emma. Astonished by the state of the world, he sees news clippings on the wall, but can't remember anything beyond that. May explains that this chaos happened years ago, caused by scientists claiming it was nature's way of eliminating humans to rebalance itself. She mentions using solar energy in that location, but suddenly there's a collapse. May steps outside to check, instructing Ethan to stay put and not touch anything. Contrary to May's instructions, Ethan goes outside and discovers they are on a farm with an incredible view. As he looks around, he notices a nearby stable containing what appears to be a human skull covered in spider webs, and to his surprise, it seems to be moving. Alarmed, he tries to warn May about it, but she, accustomed to the presence of the skull, dismissively replies that it's just Myrtle, sarcastically assuring him she's fine, just not to get too close. Shaking off this bizarre detail, Ethan notices the old solar panels May has set up. Understanding the technology, he asks to take a look and quickly identifies the problem, fixing it just in time before nearly fainting again. He struggles to remain polite about May's lifestyle, but can't hide his shock when she pulls a dead possum from a trap, announcing that dinner will be good tonight. Entering the house, May locks various bolts on the door and warns Ethan not to snoop around, as all the rooms are filled with traps. He begins to ask about the types of traps, but stops mid-sentence when he sees her swiftly pull out her weapon and point it at him. His astonishment grows when she hands him the gun, urging him to pull the trigger. When he refuses, she congratulates him on making the right choice, revealing that there are tricks even with the weapon. Had he shot, he would have been in big trouble, as the red part of her device was exposed. After dinner, Ethan thanks her for her hospitality and expresses his need to continue searching for his girlfriend. However, May insists that his hospitality must be repaid and asks for his help generating energy by pedaling on a bike while he sweats. As she drinks a beverage and puts a record on the phonograph, May abruptly cuts Ethan off when he mentions looking for Emma, insisting he come dance with her. Feeling awkward about refusing, Ethan grows increasingly uncomfortable as her tough facade reveals her loneliness and desire for companionship. She suggests a new pastime, and each time he tries to leave after dancing, she redirects him to a card game. Finally, when it's late at night, she insists she can't let him go outside, claiming it's too risky. May promises to help him search for Emma the next day, keeping him from leaving. May takes Ethan to the guest room, and as soon as she falls asleep, he begins to worry about his girlfriend, who must be anxious about him. His memory remains fuzzy, coming to him in confusing flashes. He recalls that the place they were heading to when the accident happened was a cabin by a lake, and the couple had agreed to go directly there if something went wrong and they accidentally got separated. Ignoring the warnings about going out at night, Ethan decides to steal the truck. After all, it's already stolen. It's a long road to the cabin, and there are no other cars in sight. Ethan feels tired and nearly loses control during a nap, but he's relieved to see a sign warning that the lake is nearby. Before reaching it, he briefly loses consciousness again, waking up in front of the cabin with the parked car. Several boards have been nailed to cover the door, and when he shouts his girlfriend's name, no one responds. Removing one of the boards, he breaks the glass to unlock the door and steps inside. As Ethan starts calling out again, the person who appears in the hallway is not Emma. Her name is Jolene, and a boy named Sam is hiding behind the couch, on high alert like everyone else he has encountered. Jolene points her gun at him, demanding he drop the crowbar. Ethan quickly understands the source of their concern when heavy footsteps announce a visitor. An inexplicable creature appears at the door, resembling a human skeleton covered in moss, with a tuft of grass sticking out of its back. Jolene rushes to close the door, and Ethan has to help her, as the creature proves to be very strong. The monstrous hand of the creature rolls on the floor when the door slams shut. Thanks to Ethan's intrusion, the zombie breaks another window and grabs Jolene's head, smashing through the door. Jolene drops the gun in shock, but Ethan finds it's not loaded when he tries to use it. He grabs a hammer from the floor and strikes the intruder until it falls. A few minutes later, Jolene lays the boy down, and they both watch the creature through the window. Ethan is astonished that the creature still moves after so many hammer strikes. Jolene explains that the zombies in the area are at an advanced stage, making them more plant-like than human. Noticing Ethan's broken arm, she asks how he got it splinted, and he replies that Emma is a doctor. Speaking of his girlfriend, he recounts his last memories, recalling that the virus had a plant composition and spread rapidly, prompting the couple to seek refuge in the isolated cabin. Jolene offers to keep watch while Ethan rests, but warns him that she won't hesitate to kill him if he poses any threat to her or the boy. That night, Ethan is plagued by more horrific nightmares, featuring a mustached man sitting at a table in various scenes where Emma is in danger. The dreams always end with a voice saying, "Wake up!" However, waking up this time brings no comfort. Instead, Ethan finds himself face down in a pool of blood. The scene around him is one of complete tragedy, with broken furniture and shards of glass, and Jolene's body lies motionless. Stumbling out of the cabin, he sees a red-haired woman feeding on someone who has fallen. The red-haired woman doesn't resemble the zombie from the previous night. She appears to have been infected more recently. As she moves away, Ethan approaches the victim and realizes it's the boy, Sam. The sight triggers terrible memories of Jolene screaming his name. When the woman reappears next to him, she doesn't attack. Instead, she seems to be trying to communicate, but can only produce distressed squeals. Suddenly, a gunshot rings out, and she drops to the ground. It's May who shot the red-haired woman, approaching steadily and dressed for battle. The woman is already groaning loudly when May arrives, and she fires again upon seeing Sam, who questions the necessity of her actions. May assures him it is essential, explaining that both will soon rise again, and her shots are only meant to buy time as she heads into the cabin to deal with Jolene. Meanwhile, Ethan notices a birdhouse with a symbol identical to Emma's tattoo. When he inspects it, the front of the birdhouse loosens, revealing a hidden bundle. By this point, May realizes that Ethan doesn't remember anything from the previous day. Ethan doesn't pay much attention as May introduces herself. Instead, he focuses on the bundle, which contains a cell phone. He plays a video of Emma crying as she records a message for him, expressing her concern that his amnesia is worsening and that she doesn't know how much longer she can hold on. In the video, Ethan can be seen sleeping behind her. Emma tells him the world has changed and people are different, but just as she is about to share an important piece of advice, the battery dies. Ethan screams in frustration, and May pleads for him to be quiet, warning that too much noise could attract the creatures. She mentions having a phone charger at her place and suggests he follow her. Ethan, unaware of any ulterior motives and unable to remember how she appeared at the cabin, innocently accepts the invitation. He even compliments the truck, lamenting that she can't use it now because someone left the battery on, leaving her resigned to pedaling home. May bends down to grab the bicycle and accidentally drops her glasses, noting that the lens is broken. She swears, commenting on how she had to kill many people to get those glasses, leaving Ethan uncertain if it's a joke. Trying to be cordial, he explains that he suffers from amnesia. May replies that she knows, revealing they are already acquainted. After pedaling several kilometers, they cover the last stretch on foot, passing by various zombies at different stages of transformation. Ethan tries to make small talk and asks May if she is married. Not in the mood for conversation, she simply replies that her partner is dead. Upon arriving in the city, Ethan suddenly stops in front of a gas station that frequently appears in his nightmares. The establishment's facade triggers a memory. He sees himself arriving with Emma and telling her that he will protect her. As they both get out of the car, Emma doesn't notice a zombie approaching until it's too close. Ethan screams to warn Emma, missing his first shot but successfully taking the creature down with the second. Emma seems surprised by his heroism, which offends him slightly. Just then, the zombie grabs his arm and the memory ends abruptly. Believing his memory has entered a new cycle, May introduces herself again. However, Ethan insists he remembers her, trying to disguise his faintness by pretending he just tripped. Back at the morbid home, May senses something is wrong and demands silence, threatening anyone nearby with her gun drawn. She spots a man in the yard who introduces himself as Tom, claiming he's looking for his wife and will accept charity. May takes his gun, expressing her distrust, but offers food in exchange for help. The two men chop wood while she prepares a meal, keeping an eye on the window. When there's a moment of distraction, Tom lies about needing to relieve himself and sneaks off to retrieve a hidden second gun. May offers lemonade to her helpers before inviting them inside. While Tom washes his hands, she instructs Ethan to say he isn't hungry. Though confused, he obeys, trying to mask his growling stomach. Tom shows a picture of his wife Fran, who disappeared 10 days ago while exploring the area, mentioning she found a house that looked like this one. As Tom speaks, Ethan starts feeling dizzy and ultimately faints. Seizing the opportunity, Tom holds May at gunpoint, taking her weapon. However, she remains calm and observes the effects of the sedative she put in the stew, as her dizziness begins to slow her movements. Tom realizes he has been fooled, and May hastens the process with a blow to his head. A few minutes later, Ethan regains consciousness and notices she is missing, but hears her voice assuring him she'll be right back. He then sees the front door open and two armed intruders enter. One tries to wake Tom, calling his name while signaling for Ethan to stay quiet. The intruder returns with a syringe in hand, and May is quickly grabbed by the intruders and tied to a chair. May claims to be diabetic and insists the injection is insulin, but no one believes her. Tom regains consciousness, calling his accomplices Fox and Wolf, and declares he will search the entire house to prove Fran was there. He warns Wolf that the hostage is tough to handle. Ethan joins Tom on the search, where Tom tries to convince him that May is responsible for not only Fran's disappearance, but also Emma's. In the living room, Wolf asks about the barn, and May nervously responds that it's just dirt, sensing the tension in the room. Ethan, still weak and confused, decides to check the barn despite his doubts about Tom's theories. His skepticism changes when he finds Emma's necklace on the bedroom floor. Furious, Tom rushes downstairs with a suitcase and spills its contents onto the table. The collection, cards, wallets, documents, and trinkets appears to be too much for just one person, confirming May's claims about her acquisitions. When Fox points out Fran's necklace among the items, Tom becomes distraught. Seizing the moment, Ethan approaches with a gun, demanding that May tell the truth about Emma. May reveals that the girl has been dead for a while, but denies any involvement. Fox joins Wolf, who is breaking into the barn, and they discover it's been turned into a makeshift hospital. Fox recognizes a friend who had gone missing, now lying on a bed and missing an arm. Meanwhile, Tom, stunned by Ethan's amnesia, asks if he recalls how he broke his arm. Forced to reveal the truth, May explains that Ethan is already dead. At that moment, Wolf runs out to warn Tom, but trips a trap, setting off an explosion. Tom's body falls next to Myrtle, who immediately begins to feed on him. Realizing his companions are gone, Tom aims to finish off May, unaware he's using her gun. When he fires, it tears off his own arm, triggering a shocking transformation in Ethan, whose pupils change as he charges at Tom and devours him. May manages to free herself from the chair and comforts Ethan, assuring him he won't remember any of this. The next day, Ethan wakes up, not recognizing May at all. She tells him that food is running low and they need to go hunt. As he gets out of bed, another memory washes over him. He and Emma are walking to May's house, which looks much better cared for. The man chopping wood is Kai, who frequently appears in Ethan's nightmares. He warns them that his daughter Caroline is on the porch, gun aimed at them as a precaution. Emma explains they had an accident on the road and asks Kai for shelter, or at least some food. Kai agrees, but insists on making sure they aren't infected first. During the brief inspection, he doesn't notice anything strange about Ethan's broken arm. Speaking to his daughter, Kai repeats the family mantra about only trusting after verifying, hinting at something that happened to her brother Bobby, though he dismisses it. After deciding to take the couple in, Kai joins them, and the three spend a bit of time talking in the living room. Kai is a deeply religious man with strong opinions, rejecting the notion that the virus is nature's way of reclaiming what's hers. He believes it's a divine sign urging humanity to return to essential values like faith and family. Back in the present, Ethan is outside with May, hunting. He looks at the heart drawn on his cast and notices its color has changed from red to green, with a count of 20 marks beneath it, triggering memories of similar images associated with the red heart. May turns when she hears Ethan cocking the gun and warns her that she got the heart color wrong. Shockingly, she replies that the red pen ran out, revealing he's been bitten on the arm the day he saved Emma. The cast has been hiding this truth. May explains that each time he feeds, the transformation process is halted, preventing him from becoming a plant. As Ethan processes this, he recalls Kai welcoming them, realizing that Kai's wife is not May, but a woman named Sarah. When Ethan starts to feel unwell, Emma concocts an excuse to take him away while the family prays upstairs. She urges him to stay strong and promises she'll never abandon him. Afterward, she returns to the table to thank Kai for their hospitality. However, Kai then asks Sarah to take Emma to the yard, revealing a gun. Sarah, surprised, protests slightly but ultimately obeys. As they head toward the door, she curiously glances upstairs. Kai instructs Emma to keep her hands on the table, declaring that Ethan is already lost, showing signs of typical plant man amnesia. He accuses her of exploiting the kindness of strangers, while Ethan feels increasingly unwell. As they reach the bathroom, Sarah begins to realize the gravity of the situation, but it's too late. Startled by his wife's scream, Kai is momentarily distracted, allowing Emma to launch a surprise attack with a knife. The two engage in a fierce struggle, with Kai slamming Emma's face into a plate before throwing her to the ground. Desperate, she reaches for a gun and shoots, eliminating the last member of the family. Ethan, horrified, feeds on the other two, and Emma soon hears his anguished scream, recalling the look on his face that day. Ethan realizes Emma has kept her promise to never abandon him, but his life has become a grim cycle. He must eat daily and can only consume fresh meat, relying on the hospital and the barn where Emma keeps living victims to provide sustenance. As time passed, he began to forget her, the age difference growing until he no longer recognized her when he woke. Emma, now calling herself May and hiding her tattoo, uses the same letters from her original name. Devastated by this revelation, Ethan laments that he has become a monster. However, she counters that humans are obsolete and threatened with extinction, while the infected represent the new dominant species. Ignoring her arguments, Ethan insists that this cycle must end. May reluctantly agrees, admitting her own exhaustion and past failures. Determined, Ethan tests her claims and discovers that, like the other creatures, he simply doesn't die. In response, May decides to approach the situation differently, revealing herself as the woman he once loved. May surrenders, knowing Ethan can't resist his instincts. In a moment of hunger, he bites her, and soon after, they reunite as equals in their new existence, bound by their shared fate.